Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today, after the old day job, I am off to check out the new horror comedy, Rumours. So what's the plot of this movie? Well, it tells the story of 7 world leaders who get together on a secluded resort island to discuss world leader shit. And wouldn't you know it, a zombie apocalypse or, well, something weird happens, like, I guess zombies, and then they find a giant brain in the woods. It's pretty messed up. I was just watching the trailer for this movie, and it's got a lot going on. It looks pretty freaking awesome, to be perfectly honest. This film is starring Cate Blanchett and Charles Dance, and I am really stoked to get out the door, to get to work, and then, of course, off to check out Rumours. Welcome back. Just getting home, and guys, while I did enjoy this movie, I don't think it's going to have a lot of mass appeal. So let's get this started, shall we? We're going to get things started with negatives, then move into the positives to end the video on the ever so important high note. Now, the first thing about this movie is it does not hold your hand whatsoever. It doesn't explain anything to you. It doesn't help you along. Everything in this movie is very ambiguous and lets you, the viewer, figure out what's going on. To give you an idea, I am still trying to figure out most of this movie. I am still trying to figure out what in God's green earth I just saw. I liked it, but there are moments in this film where things are just kind of thrown at you that I'm wondering to myself, does this have a purpose, or is it purpose just to be there to confuse you? You're going to find yourself in a lot of moments like that in this movie. It seems like there are other people in this film that know what's going on, but you, the viewer, and everyone else, not so much. Now, if you're also somebody that likes well-developed, well-defined characters, this movie is probably not going to be for you either. These characters are not likable, they're vacant, they're very shallow, there's not a lot going on here, but that is important to the story, honestly, and it works with the parody of the world leaders, so I guess calling them out on their characters being weak isn't necessarily the film's fault. This film also is kind of slowly paced. It's not what I was expecting. I was expecting more of a silly B horror movie with zombies and a lot of slapsticky goofball humor that still had some kind of, society message or something like that. But that is not what this film is at all. These folks are just in the woods and they're just walking through the woods. And in some cases, they come across these like undead zombie creatures and they don't really interact with anybody. So if you want to see a lot of monster chase action, this is probably not the movie for you either. Comedy-wise, there are funny moments, but it's not necessarily a belly laugh type of film either. All in all, guys, this is what I would have called back in the day a good old-fashioned art house film. It doesn't necessarily latch on to any kind of genre either. It has elements of pretty much everything. And while some folks might really enjoy that, I know that really annoys some people. Like if you go over 2 different genres in one thing, I'm sorry, that's too much. This movie, however, yes, it is a horror. It is a comedy. There are slight action moments to this film. There are dark comedy moments to this film, and there's even a little bit of surrealism tossed in there. But never at any moment does the film decide this is what we're going to be. Everything in this movie is left very ambiguous and up to the viewer on what is going on. Now, that being said, what did I like about this movie? Now, those things didn't necessarily bother me. I did like the fact that this film just kind of lets you decide what you're seeing in front of your eyes, just lets the viewer decide, okay, That's it. That's a giant brain, and I guess that's all it's supposed to be. It's just a giant brain in the woods. Or you can sit there and think about this in a different way. And here's something else that's kind of nice. If you're somebody that just absolutely loves cheesy B horror movies, you're probably going to find something here also, because this movie is told in an exact way like that. This film feels to its core like just one of those B cheese films that you used to see on USA Up All Night or Monster Vision. And I think the actors in this film do an outstanding job delivering that vibe of a movie. All in all, guys, I think that this film lays way closer to the surreal weird side, and if that's something that you really enjoy, you're probably going to get a lot out of this movie. But if you're someone who doesn't want to see something like that, you just want to sit down, put some popcorn in your mouth, get entertained, and walk away with a good story and not have to think about a lot of shit, this might not be the movie for you. All in all, guys, from my personal opinion, if you're someone who enjoys surrealist comedy, B-horror, campy stuff like that, but don't expect any blood and violence, by the way, with your B-horror movie. It just feels like a campy B-horror movie. So if these are things that you like, this might be the type of movie for you to get out there and see in theaters. But all in all, guys, I do think that this is a solid stream it when you get an opportunity, out of curiosity. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching The Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.